Welcome to Primetime News here on TV1. You're joining me, David Paldano.
And I'm Azra Hassan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
Was the reason behind the death of 4 people in Valapane, the quarry that is operating within close proximity. Residents protest that the quarry be shut down. Court bars the Swiss embassy staffer who was allegedly held against her will from travelling overseas. Orders that a statement be provided to the CID. Will it be the symbol of the flower bud or the chair? Debate over the agreements reached before the presidential election.
අපි කැමති පොට්ටුවෙන්ම තරඟ කරනවා
නෑ අපි තාම ඒව පිළිබඳව අපිට සාකච්ඡා කරලා තීන්දුව ගන්න පුළුවන් අපිට.
Showers predicted in the northeast tonight. Fishermen advised to be cautious when setting off to sea. Maldives wins its maiden gold at the 2019 South Asian Games. Sri Lanka wins 2 more gold medals.
On to our lead story now. A group of bhikkhus and locals protested against the stone quarry that is said to have been a contributory factor for the landslide that occurred in Valapane that claimed the lives of 4. The remains of 1 person is yet to be located.
Hampering traffic flow on the Valapane Kandy main road, locals staged the protest this morning at the Naram Talava junction. The landslide claimed the lives of 3 individuals when a mound of earth collapsed onto their house in Valapane, Nuwara. The victims were 58-year-old Gigi Ranbanda, his wife 52-year-old Biso Manika, and their 17-year-old female relative. The deceased couple's 16-year-old son, who is claimed to have been inside the house at the time of the incident, is still missing. Newsfirst recalls how Ranbanda shared his views with us about this life-threatening situation several years ago.
A group of people came here and asked us to evacuate. I said I will not go anywhere. I said I have no other place to go. Did you see the quarry? They do not think about the future generation. These quarries have dried up the stream and devastated the area. They don't think about our children.
The stone quarry, located less than 100 meters away from the house in which Ranbanda lived, still continue to operate. Locals charged the drilling and the use of explosives at the quarry resulted in the earth embankments to erode, which contributed to the devastating landslide that claimed the lives of innocent people. In 2007, a research conducted by the NBRO had identified the weak nature of the earth in this area and had labelled this area a high-risk landslide-prone area. The NBRO points out, though residents were informed to evacuate this area, they did not receive a positive response. However, the National Building Research Organization had granted permission for a quarry to operate in the same area that they themselves had labelled as a high-risk landslide area. The NBRO said the quarry and its operations do not affect the earth, and permission was granted for the quarry following the recommendations of the respective companies involved in the quarrying. In 2007, a minor landslide occurred in this area. The NBRO then labelled this area as a high-risk landslide area. During this time, the Chinese company named Yuan Construction Engineering was to construct the Ragala-Prikilagaskara road and several other nearby roads. They were supposed to bring in stones from outside, but after identifying this mountain, they started to excavate and source stones from this mountain. Now the NBRO first labelled this area as a high-risk area, but after the Chinese company came into the picture and threw money, they changed the outlook of the report. They changed the report and said this area was not prone to any disasters. Using this report as a basis, the Central Environmental Authority issued an environmental license. Using this as a basis, the District Secretary then granted permission to the Chinese company to operate the quarry. On top of all of that, Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, disregarding all environmental reports, issued a license. The day before the landslide occurred, about 50 to 55 boats were used at the quarry. They now claim that this is a natural disaster. Amid such a backdrop, locals at the Malpattava village claim the walls of their houses have cracked due to the drilling and the use of explosives at the quarry. Our walls have cracked due to the quarry. They gave me and my son 150,000 rupees as compensation. All of these problems started after the quarry. Our houses shake when they drill the rocks. They never even warned us about this. The walls of our houses are cracking. This is all because of the quarrying. Even the streams have dried out. We took the money but was not aware of this. They even got us to sign a document.
අපි ලියුමක් අත්සන් කරගෙන තියෙන්නේ.
The permit to carry out operations at the quarry was issued to a Chinese company that constructed a section of the Walapane Kandy main road between 2011 and 2015 while carrying out operations at the quarry. This Chinese company, which is currently engaged in construction activities at the Ragal-Udupussal road, had attempted to resume operations at the quarry since last year, however failed due to the massive protest from the locals. Disregarding these protests and taking advantage of their legal rights, the Chinese company resumed operations at the quarry on the 1st of March this year.
The US Embassy in Sri Lanka issued a press release regarding the recent equipment donated to the National Building Research Organization, or the NBRO, in order to detect and monitor areas prone to landslides. It reads, the United States donated landslide monitoring instruments to Sri Lanka's National Building Research Organization, also known as the NBRO, to more effectively manage the risk of landslides in Nikgaha, Kalutara. As part of the initiative, engineers and geologists from the US Geological Survey, also known as the USGS, visited Sri Lanka from the 5th of November to the 15th of November to partner with Sri Lanka's scientists on the installation and use of the equipment, which will enable the NBRO staff to quickly identify areas vulnerable to landslides and avert the loss of life and property. US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Elena B. Teplitz, said better preparedness will help save lives. And she added, this equipment will enable NBRO to issue targeted regional landslide warnings, which are crucial for rural communities. The equipment, worth 4 million rupees, will enable the NBRO to remotely monitor groundwater levels and rainfall in areas at risk for landslides. The USGS team also led workshops for the NBRO staff on improving their skills in identifying landslide-prone areas and the role scientists can play during disaster response.
Speaking at a media briefing, Kelia Rambukwala, State Minister of Investment Promotion, expressed the following views.
I don't think we need any foreign assistance right now, but in the long term, mid term, we have to look at it. But we are looking more towards foreign investment, direct investment, right? Now, instead of loans, I think it's time that we have a second thought about the loans. I think we have taken enough. During our time, we had taken 5 trillion. Norachole was almost 1 billion. Auditor General says that is the most profitable venture that we have embarked. The Southern High Expressway, almost making more than anticipated profit. We will be in a position to market those with the international investors. We had nearly 7% growth rate, the highest in Southeast Asia. Today, unfortunately, we are last in Southeast Asia. Central Bank Governor, who says we might end up with 1.6, which is the lowest ever that I can remember.
The court has barred the Swiss embassy staffer who was allegedly held against her will from travelling overseas until the 9th of this month.
The CID presenting facts before courts today regarded the alleged incident of the Swiss embassy staffer by the name of Shalia Francis being kidnapped using a white van and being interrogated for 2 hours. The CID said that a statement needs to be obtained from the alleged victim. Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna, taking into consideration the facts presented, barred the embassy employee from travelling overseas until the 9th of this month. The magistrate ordered the notices be issued that she appear before the CID and provide a statement before the 9th as well. Chief Inspector of the CID Ranjit Munusinghe said that the investigations into the alleged incident were commenced based on a written complaint provided by the Swiss embassy. The CID added that the embassy has not revealed her identity or the whereabouts of her husband and children. The CID also said before court that on the 25th of last month, the day of the alleged incident, the employee had left the embassy premises claiming that she was going to the school where her children are receiving education. They added that her residence in Malika Khanda is closed while her husband's mobile phone has been switched off. The CID said that the husband is an employee at a private bank. Senior State Counsel Janaka Bandara, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General, said that if the details in the complaint provided by the Swiss embassy are true, then this is a serious issue which is not a personal dispute that would affect the government as well. He added that if she leaves the country for some reason without providing a statement to the police, it would affect the image of the government. Therefore, the senior state counsel requested court for an order prohibiting the Swiss embassy staffer and her husband from leaving the country. The court rejected the request to issue such an order against the husband. The magistrate ordered that the progress of the investigation be reported to court on the 9th.
Issuing a media release, the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs notes that State Secretary Pascal Beriswal has received the Sri Lankan ambassador to Switzerland based in Berlin, Karunasen Hettiarachchi, in Bern.
The Switzerland State Secretary has asked Sri Lanka to explain the purported evidence against the events described by the embassy, which the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry had alluded to in its press release. The media release notes Ms. Beriswal emphasized to the Sri Lankan ambassador that the FDFA would support all measures to investigate and resolve this matter by due process of law. The release says she confirmed that the employee concerned still cannot be questioned on health grounds, stressing that the individual's health must take priority. She had also indicated that while Switzerland had no interest in delaying investigations by the Sri Lankan authorities, the FDFA takes its responsibilities to its staff very seriously.
The person who got kidnapped is currently working. Why won't they give a statement? When you check CCTV footage, there is nothing in them. Money is still being pumped into this. This is just another act. Today, the latest act in the White Man saga comes to pay under the supervision of the Swiss ambassador. Under the 38/2 article of the Vienna Convention, a Sri Lankan woman or a Sri Lankan official does not receive diplomatic immunity. If that is so, the decision of whether or not the woman will be questioned by the police remains with the government of Sri Lanka and not with the ambassador of Switzerland.
The convener of the Maubimo Venuin Ranaviruo organization commenced a hunger strike opposite the Swiss embassy in Colombo yesterday. Now here are some of the footage that was captured. Retired Major Ajit Prasanna ended the protest he began opposite the Swiss embassy last night.
Retired Major General Ajit Prasanna ended his protest in front of the Swiss embassy yesterday following the discussions he had with several parties who visited him.
I didn't come here because I don't know the law. I'm a lawyer. I know the law. I know international law. I'm a person who has a postgraduate diploma in international human rights law. I have also passed the Foreign Services exam. I have passed the 3rd grade in Foreign Services. There are only a few in Sri Lanka. It is not prohibited to protest in front of an embassy. You don't need permission from anyone to protest. Bimal Veeravansa had to stop his protest because he had a lot of people around him, and the United Nations said the road was being blocked. They also said our people can't leave. Due to that, the case states it was coercion. Therefore, I sat here alone because I know the law. If we waited for longer, the UN would have imposed sanctions. No, I have to explain the law to you. You might not be aware of it. That is what I am saying. Your opinion is wrong. You say I sat here without knowing the law. I don't need permission from you, which means I will not stand up because you told me so. That is not necessary. Now, if you are saying I need to discuss with these people, why do we need to do that? Did you take permission before sitting in front of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic? No.
දැන් වහන්සේ වාඩි උනේ වහන්සේ දන්දා මාලිගාව ඉස්සරහ වාඩි වුණා අපෙන් අහලාද නැහනේ
මම ඔයාගෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් නේ කරේ ඒ ඔයාගෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් දීලා කතා කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ ඔයා මේ ඔයාට මම මොකක් කියන්නේ ඔයාට මම කියන්නේ නැහැ නැගිටින්න කියලා ඔයා වැරදි විදිහට තීරුම් ගන්න එපා මේ හාමුදුරු දෙන්න බොහන්සේ කියනකො මට එන්න කිව්වයි කියලා ඒක බොහන්සේ කියන්න දැන්
අපි මේක හෙට වෙනම ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයකින් විසඳමු
අධ්‍යයන ප්‍රකාශයක් කරලා මම නැගිටින්න එකෙකුට නෑ මේ මන්ත්‍ර තියෙන කොණ්ඩ අපි විපක්ෂයේ ඉන්න කාලේ අපි ආණ්ඩුවට විරුද්ධව අරගල කරා. ඒ අරගලවල ගොඩාක් සෙනග හිටියා.
I will make a statement to the media and get up. No one has the courage I have. When we were in the opposition, we protested against the government. There were many people who joined us for those protests. That was because we had an aim to win and an aim to defeat the government. Because of that, there was a huge crowd for those protests. After we established the government, there is less of a crowd to fight against the threats to the country. I was wondering why. Now the ministers are being appointed to the government. There is a struggle to get ministerial positions. How does a non-cabinet minister become a cabinet minister? How does a deputy minister become a state minister? The next struggle is to get into government boards. Now the people are dispersed. No one can see the threat to the country. If the investigations didn't prove that the woman was lying, keep in mind that we were just a week away from the UN imposing sanctions on us. The ambassador failed in his lies. No one can say I ate or drank anything for the 11 or 12 hours I maintained my discipline. I will get up now. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, I have to pick my daughter up. The reason being, there is no one at home to drive. My wife can't drive. My daughter is coming for the exam. I request the President to grant me a position from the Council that offers appointments. Let me be a member of the envoy to Geneva. Let me do that job till I defeat the 30-upon-1 in Geneva. I take the responsibility. I can do it. I was the one who claimed that Fonseca murdered Lasanta. I proved with evidence that Champika killed Egnaligoda. Champika doesn't go to court against me because he knows the evidence will prove his guilt. The main reason I'm getting up is because I have to take my daughter for the O-level examination tomorrow morning because there is no one to take her.
Following the statements made to the media, Ajit Prasanna left in his private vehicle, which he came in.
The Xinhua news agency reported that China and Sri Lanka have agreed to speed up the implementation of cooperation of major economic projects.
According to reports, this includes the Colombo port city and the Hambantota port, and it will be done under the existing consensus and on that basis draw up and promote a new blueprint for future cooperation. Days after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa called the Hambantota port lease agreement between the previous government and China a mistake and called for it to be renegotiated, China responded saying the cooperation between both countries, including in the project of Hambantota port, was based on equal-footed consultation and win-win spirit. It was termed as a white elephant by the former government, and in 2017, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority entered into a partnership with China Merchants Port Holdings to develop and manage the port, which was leased to the latter for 99 years. Ajit Niwad Kabra, speaking to a website, said Sri Lanka wants the port back, adding Sri Lanka would pay back the loan in due course in the way originally agreed without any disturbance. Sri Lanka's relationship with China may resemble the one new governments in Pakistan and Malaysia last year adopted, as they sought to revisit and renegotiate investment agreements clinched by their predecessors with China. The matter on the Hambantota port placed a serious issue on the state coffers, because the deal in 2017 gave the Sri Lankan government $1.4 billion, which was widely regarded as to be used to pay off the debt to China. Speaking to Newsfirst, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, said there was no debt-to-equity swap, and money which came into the treasury was used for debt servicing, including international sovereign bonds. To manage the operations of the port, Sri Lanka and China agreed to form the Hambantota International Port Group. When Newsfirst contacted a source from HIPG, they said they cannot comment on the matter.
Due to the Gazette notification signed by President prorogued Parliament last night, the COPE, or the Committee on Public Enterprises, will cease to function. The COPE was to convene today to discuss about the forensic audit report presented on the bond scam. Now that the COPE will cease to function because the Parliament is prorogued, what will happen to the future proceedings of the bond scam?
The Working Committee Secretariat received the comprehensive forensic audit report that we requested from the Central Bank. Today's session was to focus on whether those reports will be presented to Parliament or not after discussing them. But after the gazette signed by the President last night, the Parliament will be prorogued and the Working Committee is unable to function and unable to convene. One of the most important recommendations in the series of recommendations we presented to Parliament on the bond scam was this comprehensive forensic audit report we requested. According to my memory, 900 million was spent on this using funds from abroad. They conducted 5 audits in this forensic audit. So those reports of the 5 audits were presented. To my knowledge, this is a complete forensic audit report on bonds issued from 2002 to the 28th of February 2015.
2015 පෙබරවාරි 28 දක්වා දැනුම් කර නිකුත් කිරීම පිළිබඳව සම්පූර්ණ විගණන වාර්තාවක් කළා තියෙන බව තමයි දන්නේ. මේක
ඒ කියන්නේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ රජයත් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාගේ අගමැති පාලන කාලයත් අදාළ වෙනවා.
ඒ කාල දෙකේදීම සිද්ධ වෙච්ච
It is a comprehensive report on how money has been invested in bonds that were issued in those times. The controversial bond scam revolved around 10 million. If you take a look at this entire procedure, the money amounts to more than 5,600 million. That is half of our country's debt. Bond deals have been done in line with the Provident Fund. I am not saying that the entirety of the 5,600 million was wasted, but with what is happening now, all those relevant documents have been stored in COPE archives without even opening them. I am not saying that the next COPE or the chairman cannot probe into this. It can be done. But the issue here is that because it is a procedure that has been in work since 2002, less interest will be drawn to open these reports. I don't think doing so is fair, because when this government and president came onto power, the biggest promise they gave was to punish the rogues behind the bond scam. Consciously, no one can hide that under the rug. But the present time is a time where the complaint becomes the defendant. This is a time where the complaint becomes a wrongdoer. If the defendant comes clean and the complaint becomes a wrongdoer, maybe I can be the wrongdoer in this case.
විත්තිකාරය නිවැරදි වෙලා පැමිණිලිකාරය වැරදිකාරය වෙන තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා නම් සමහරවිට කෝප් කමිටුවේ මේ පරීක්ෂණෙත් වැරදිකාරය මම
In the event of prorogation of Parliament, all committees including Committee of Public Accounts, Committee of Public Finance, Committee of Parliamentary Business, Committee of Standing Orders, Committee of Ethics and Privileges, Constitutional Council and Ministerial Consultative Committee will cease to function. The Media Division of the Parliament issued a release saying the Select Committee of Parliament to study and report to Parliament its recommendations to ensure communal and religious harmony, chaired by the Speaker, and Select Committee of Parliament to study and report to Parliament its recommendations to ensure national evaluation capacity, chaired by the Deputy Speaker, will continue to function. 16 sectoral oversight committees will also continue to function. The third session of the 8th Parliament was prorogued yesterday. Parliament will reconvene on the 3rd of January 2020 at 10 a.m. During the prorogation, the Speaker continues to function and the members retain their membership even though they do not attend meetings of Parliament. The consensus of these committees may change when Parliament reconvenes on the 3rd. It will take another month. We are not sure if it will be postponed again. The President will get the power to dissolve Parliament after 12 midnight on the 28th of February. When Parliament dissolves, the reports of these committees will be cancelled, so the chance to bring in the perpetrators involved in the central bank bond scam before law. We think this may be a conspiracy to save those responsible.
බේරාගැනීමේ කුමන්ත්‍රණයක්ද කියලා අපිට සැකයක් තියෙනවා.
නියම හොරු පිළිබඳව මේ
The forensic audit has details of all those rogues. Who suppressed this report? Why wasn't it presented prior the presidential election? Why was it stopped from being presented today? We will have to speak about this in the near future.
අපි ඉදිරියට සාකච්ඡා කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
අද පමණක් නොවේ අපිට හෙටක් තියෙනවා.
A new COPE will be formed. The COPE can only present recommendations. The Attorney General gets a copy of the CBSL report. Even if COPE looks into this, the previous committee looked into it to a certain extent. The politicians were saved and the blame was put on the officers.
නිලධාරීන් මත පමණක් වරද පැටවුවා. අපි හිතන්නේ මෙහෙම අල්ලන්න පුළුවන් නැහැ. මෙහෙම කරලා තාම අල්ලගන්න බෑනේ. try කරාට බෑ. ඒක තමයි දැන් මේ කරමින් ඉන්නේ.
Meanwhile, the Frontline Socialist Party commented on proroguing Parliament today.
The Speaker, making a statement, said that Ranil Wickremesinghe will be appointed as the party leader and the opposition leader. Then several MPs requested the Speaker to appoint Sajith Premadasa as the opposition leader. Today, the Speaker was supposed to say who is it that will be appointed as the opposition leader. However, the Parliament was prorogued last night, and with that, the opposition leader position of Ranil Wickremesinghe remains secure. He does not have to be vigilant about this till the 3rd of January. And during that period of this power struggle, he can secure his position. According to these series of events that take place at present, we are bewildered to determine whether it was the SLPP or the UNP who emerged victorious at the presidential election.
A group of UNP MPs convened a media briefing today regarding the party leadership and the position of the opposition leader at an election operations centre of Sajith Premadasa located at the Vauxhall Street in Colombo. We will follow up on that story. Moving on to more local news. The leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, visited Kandy to meet the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askeri chapters today. In more local news, a controversy has arisen with regard to the symbol under which Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and its partnering parties will contest in the next election.
We don't have to make this symbol an issue. What's important is the victory of our party. We'd like it if we can contest using the Pohottuwa symbol. We are ready if everyone agrees to change it. Those who supported the party would want to contest under the Pohottuwa symbol. Pohottuwa is popular. People are with Pohottuwa. 6.9 million people voted for the flower bud, so I don't think it should be changed. If all parties are going to get together and contest, we will use the symbol of the chair. We have already agreed on that. But the General Secretary of Podujana Peramuna, Sagara Karyawasam, has reached into an agreement to contest under the symbol of the chair. Sometimes he might have not informed other MPs. I saw him signing the agreement. Because I was standing behind the General Secretary of our party, when he was signing the agreement, Professor G.L. Pires was next to me. He was with Basil Rajapaksa, who saw Sagara Karyawasam signing the agreement. I think those leaders will have to inform their members. No, we can discuss and make decisions. We will not have any issue.
A group of UNP MPs convened a media briefing today regarding the party leadership and the position of opposition leader at an election operations centre of Sajith Premadasa located at the Vauxhall Street in Colombo.
We are not ready at all to give them more time. We only give them this week. Various things are being said about the opposition leadership, passing the ball from one court to another. One excuse today and another tomorrow, and another different one on the party leadership. There is nothing to hold on to here. He is our leader. Upon defeat in 1994, he packed his suitcase and left. Therefore, he does not have to count the number of days. We understand that this is a trick. We know that the Rajapaksas are behind this. That is why the parliament was prorogued for a month. Therefore, we will only be patient for another 2-3 days. We have to remind you that we will also have to take decisions. The general public requests the party seniors, including Ranil Wickremesinghe, to give both the party leadership and the opposition leadership to Sajith Premadasa. We are also on that stance. There is no point in the current leadership holding on to power furthermore. If the leadership is not handed over as per the request of the general public and the majority of the party, there might be a possibility of us taking alternate decisions. Our party is in need of guidelines. We are following the wrong direction. We have to follow the right path and lead the United National Party forward. We have to learn from our mistakes. We have to listen to what the people have to say. We cannot be stubborn and carry out party affairs. Sajith Premadasa secured 5,000 million votes at the presidential election. So what does the people expect? If a political party cannot understand what the people are saying, or if that party is choosing not to understand, that party has no future.
දේශපාලන පක්ෂයකට ඒ ජනතාව අපේක්ෂා කරන දේ තේරුම් ගන්න බැරි නම් එහෙම නැත්නම් ඕනකමින් තේරුම් නොගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් එහෙම දේශපාලන පක්ෂයකට අනාගතයක් නැහැ.
The minimum expenditure per person per month to fulfill their basic needs was increased by 7 rupees in October. It has risen from 4,890 rupees to 4,897 rupees. However, it has been reported that 14 out of the 25 districts in Sri Lanka have indicated that the minimum expenditure per person per month remained in poverty for the 46th consecutive time.
According to the Department of Census and Statistics, 15 districts have reported that the minimum expenditure per person per month to fulfill their basic needs was below the line of 4,890 rupees, while only 10 were above this level. The department points out that Ratnapura, Monaragala, Badulla, Anuradhapura, Puthalam, Kurunegala, Trincomalee, Kilinochchi, Mullaitivu, Vavuniya, Mannar, Jaffna, Galle, Mathura and Hambantota have reported low levels of minimum expenditure per person per month to fulfill their basic needs. Monaragala remains the poorest of the districts with their minimum expenditure per person per month to fulfill their basic needs recorded at 4,611 rupees, while Colombo remained the richest with 5,316 rupees. According to the Department of Statistics, the poorest of 20% in the country receive only 5.6% of the national income, while the richest 20% receive about 50.4% of the national income.
Poverty level is measured taking the poverty line into account. But I think that is not an adequate measure. I think it is better for us to look at household income and expenditure and see whether there is a deficit or a surplus. Now, if you have a deficit in terms of actual expenditure that the people incur over and above their income, then they can be considered as poor because they don't have enough money to really live on and to have access to the basic services that they need. For instance, people spend so much money on education, health and transport. And as a result, this conventional poverty measure is not adequate to look at poverty in a country like Sri Lanka, because we have not really taken the pressure off the families because people are forced to spend so much money on children's education, transport.
The Swiss Info News website reported that the Swiss Federal Court has ruled that the Tamil Tigers are not a criminal organization and has acquitted 12 people of charges filed by the Office of the Attorney General. Now, in its indictment, according to the Swiss Info News website, the OAG had accused the people of violating the Swiss Penal Code by raising funds for the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, or the LTTE, between 1999 and 2009. After its 9-year investigation, the OAG suspected the accused of financially supporting the World Tamil Coordinating Committee, or the WTCC. But in June 2018, the Federal Criminal Court found that the hierarchical link between the LTTE and the WTCC could not be sufficiently established. The judges also felt that there was not enough proof to consider the LTTE a criminal group. Now, the Swiss Info News reported that in a decision published today, the Federal Court upheld the previous ruling, noting that the Article 260 in the Swiss Penal Code was designed to combat organized crime of a mafia nature.
The athletic events of the 2019 South Asian Games commenced today. Saeed Hassan of Maldives clocked a time of 10.49 seconds in the finals of men's 100-meter event and won gold. This was the first gold medal for Maldives in 35 years in the South Asian Games. Last year's gold medalist Sri Lankan sprinter Himasha Eshan had to settle for a silver medal with a time of 10.5 seconds. Sri Lanka won 2 gold medals today. Nilani Ratnayaka, taking part in the women's 1500 event, clocked a time of 4 minutes 34.34 seconds. Sri Lanka won 3 medals including a gold at the duathlon event. Eranga Dulakshi won gold. Sri Lanka won bronze in the women category as well as in the men's category. Amasha Silva, who clocked a time of 11.82 seconds in the women's 100-meter event, won silver for Sri Lanka. Clocking a time of 11.84 seconds, Lakshika Sugandhi won bronze at the same event.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Azra Hassan.
And my name is Devi Paldano. Have a great night. Take care.